Um, okay, so let's look at homework 5. I got it linked off the site here. You're going to choose 10 images to upload into your repository. So, okay, let's put that aside for a second. Let's talk about what your site is going to be about. And some of you have started to complete homework 4. Some of you are not done yet. So I'm going to put it out there now that I wanted you to get started on homework 4 and not get caught up into like what your digital library is going to be in terms of a theme. Now's the time you need to think about that if you haven't already. So some of you, I think, were kind of trying to get sort of a fictitious theme going, and that's fine. If it's something that you can work with, i.e. has some kind of educational mission to it, really the sky's the limit, but I want it to be something that you can genuinely get behind and actually work with. So for example, you're going to need to find images out on the web, or I guess if it's some project you're doing that maybe has to do with, like, I don't know, say your backyard and you're a gardener and you can do something that has an educational mission to it and you have images, that's fine, but you need to think about where you're going to get some content to build something, a digital library that again, you can get behind, you can write about, because for your final project you're going to have to do several things. Again, this is all going to be a fictitious one. You know, we're doing this for a learning exercise, but you know, think about something that you may want to build on and keep after the class is over with. Perhaps even show you know, to a potential employer that's looking for someone who has these kind of skills and they want something more than just you saying it on a CV. You can actually link them to your omeka.net site. So keep that in mind. If you have a concern, which I don't think it should be a big issue, but if you do have a concern, like is this appropriate, shoot me an email and we can talk about it, or you can put it up on the discussion board as well, or I can send you examples of perhaps past ones, or I'm going to show you what I've done. I have a partially started one. So anyways, you're going to need 10 images. One more thing about this is that don't worry about copyright. If you know, we're doing this as an educational assignment, and I think it's really considered fair use when you're using it for education. You know, once the class is over with, and if you feel like you've really done some like egregious sort of taking of images off the web and they're not yours and you're worried about, then you can take them down after the course. But typically things you get off the web are like Wikipedia, you know, that sort of thing. You're doing it again as an educational assignment, and Omeka sort of hides its sites anyways. You're not going to find them that easily through Google, but so I wouldn't worry about that too much. So you're going to get 10 images. You're going to upload them into your repository. You're not going to do that yet. You're going to use Renamer to rename those images using, again, file naming best practices. I need to fix that typo there. And then you're going to use the DOS prompt to create a list of those file names from those images into a text file. And this is a lot of the same stuff we did when we did the EXIF homework assignment, where you were, you know, getting images and printing to CSV files and so forth. The next thing you're going to do is learn how to use this CSV import plugin. Again, this plugin, which is how Omeka runs, is through like plugins, and again, that's sort of modern software development strategies for making, you know, web technologies, is to use plugins. It's used in all sorts of platforms, like again, WordPress being a big one, and in this case, Omeka. So you're going to read about the CSV import plugin. I'm going to click on it here, but you know, read all this, and then you're going to watch the video, and you'll really know what it's all about once you read that. And knowing how to do batch uploading, which is essentially what CSV import plugin does, is really important. All the work we do, you almost always need to know how to do batch uploads. You really can't get into doing this work at scale, doing individual uploads. It's not sustainable. Okay, so you're going to create your metadata spreadsheet. So I'm going to pop over here. I've actually linked them off the website here. I'll open this up. So I'm just on the, you know, the Unix server here. Go to homework 5, and then I have my directory of images. Here's my little text file that I created from doing my DOS prompt and doing output to file. Here are all of my images. These are things I got off the web. They're public domain, but again, just showing you kind of some of the work that's going to be entailed. I'm going to keep going back here. So you're going to read about the CSV plugin, create your metadata sheet, and I think, sorry, I thought I put that in there. Let's take a look. Yeah, I did not, but let me give you a glimpse of that. That'll look like this. So you're going to have something where you have some decent headings. I'm using Dublin Core, so DC underscore identifier. And you're going to have some really just basically the who, what, where, and when, the basic field requirements you need for Dublin Core. You're going to create that and put that into a metadata spreadsheet. So this is all pretty straightforward. There's some settings you need to look at when you're uploading it, and I've got these detailed here, and also in the instructions you'll read for how to use Omeka. You'll read about those there. I'm just going to pop over to Omeka, though. And here we go. And this is a site I built, the Canals in New York State. Again, it doesn't have to be historic. It doesn't have to be quite this sort of dry and serious, but it can be. But I'm really telling you, the sky's the limit with your theme, but it's got to be something that has really something you care about on some level. That always helps, because if you care about it, you're going to work a lot harder on it and put yourself into it. But also, it needs to have some kind of educational component, something that you can hopefully... Oh, got a typo there. Professor Typo on some days here. But something that you can find material on or create your own. You want to make it so it's a doable project. Don't go nuts if you are going to create your own images, that you don't spend all your time doing that, because that's really not what this is about. It's really about sort of curating the content and cataloging and so forth, not so much creating it necessarily. But let's go in Omeka. You can see it's got, as you know, the user, the admin sort of side, or the back end for it. And this is something you're going to become very familiar with. It has various plugins. This is one that I put in here, and that you're all going to have to do with the CSV plugin. And you can do choose a file to upload, and I just choose this. I'm not going to go all the way through the process, but once you do that, you're going to select what kind it is. It's still images. Select a collection. Do you want to make them all public? These are all things you can change later on. You are going to have a delimiter there, which is a CSV is, again, comma separated values. So comma is what's used to separate all those values in the spreadsheet. Oh, keep opening that. And once you've done all that, choose the delimiter, and I think that might be as a default, because again, that's a CSV plugin. It could be space delimited, it could be semicolon. There's reasons why you might need to use that in the future, but typically comma is what we go with. And you click next, and then you're going to have a mapping exercise here. What am I going to map this to? DC identifier. So what is that going to be? Well, these are all my Dublin Core metadata fields, so I'll click, well, it's going to be identifier. This is going to be title. So this is kind of like what it's getting off. It's not kind of like, it's what it is getting off of my metadata sheet. So this is a mapping process, if you will. I could have a metadata sheet that, say, had mods or mark or EAD, for example. I could have some other metadata set standard, and this would be where you do that sort of crosswalking, if you will. So you're going to go through that, and then you're going to import the CSV. And again, almost every system you use has some kind of task like this during the process of doing batch uploading. Omeka, which I like for this course and using as a teaching tool, is very simple. I mean, it still can get complex, but for the purposes of this exercise, I feel like it's sort of challenges you just at the right amount, and I think you're going to learn a lot. So let's go back to the homework. It's due May 1st. with I think either homework 3 or homework 4. I wasn't clear, and I think some of you started posting it to the discussion board. Please email me the assignment, and basically what you're going to do is, again, a link to your Omeka site. You may change the name. Remember I said the subdomain name, you can change that, and you can get into your admin tool and do that. So if you do that, you're going to have to email me that again. And you're going to make me a admin user. And once you do that, you're going to send me to my UAlbany email, the email that you're sending me an assignment to. You're going to have to put that in there. But I'd also like you to give me the ID and password so I can get into your site and actually see what you've done and make sure you've done it correctly. And if you're having issues, I have the ability to troubleshoot with you. But rest assured that once the course is over with, or once you're done with this assignment, basically the final project, you can change the password, and that way I don't have access to it anymore. And then you're also going to send me your text file, and that text file, sorry I keep opening this, would be basically this text file I have here on the homework folder right here. You're going to send me that as your output from your DOS prompt command. Okay, I'm going to make a discussion board, as I do with all the homeworks and exercises, so you can ask questions there. Pretty much all the questions should be funneled that way, unless it's some issue with like your digital library theme. But in general, I think everyone's going to be pretty mature about this, so all these things can be really funneled towards the discussion board. And that's it. And again, the due date on that is May 1st. You have all day on May 1st to get it in. But please don't put this off. As you can see, we're now kind of getting into crunch time. We're starting to take all of our skills we've learned and best practices and knowledge throughout the whole course and really start to apply them in this final project. Homework 5, which again, for the final project, we're going to continue to build on that. Okay, so that's homework 5, and it's due May 1st.